Welcome friends. Topic of today's video is pterygoparietal ganglia. The pterygoparietal ganglia is the largest peripheral parasympathetic ganglia of the body or the head and neck, and it is present in the upper part of the pterygoparietal fossa. It serves as a relay station for the secretomotor fibers to the lacrimal gland, the mucous gland of the nose, paranasal air sinuses, the palate and the pharynx. Topographically, the pterygoparietal ganglia is related with the maxillary nerve, but functionally it is related with the facial nerve. So let us understand the pterygoparietal ganglia in detail. So let us consider this as a pterygoparietal ganglia which is hanging from the maxillary nerve by two ganglionic branches. Okay? And this pterygoparietal ganglia is present in a pyramidal space or a triangular space which is known as the pterygoparietal fossa. For detail of the pterygoparietal fossa, you can see my earlier video on pterygoparietal fossa. So this was the maxillary nerve. Okay. So here we can see that the pterygoparietal fossa is topographically related with the maxillary nerve as it is hanging from the maxillary nerve in the pterygoparietal fossa. Now we will see what are the roots of this pterygoparietal ganglia. The first root is the motor root or the parasympathetic root, which is formed by the nerve to pterygoid canal, which comes into the pterygoparietal fossa by a foramen present on the posterior wall of the pterygoparietal fossa, that was the pterygoid canal. This nerve to pterygoid canal carries the preganglionic parasympathetic fibers which will relay into this pterygoparietal ganglia. Now let us see how this preganglionic parasympathetic fibers has come into the nerve to pterygoid canal. These preganglionic parasympathetic fibers are arising from the neurons which are present in the lacrimetric nucleus of the pons of the brainstem. So let us see if this is the brainstem, this is the midbrain, this is the pons and this is the medulla. There are two nucleuses, lacrimetric and the superior salivatory nucleus. So this was the lacrimetric nucleus, this was the superior salivatory nucleus. The neurons present in these two nuclei will give rise to the preganglionic fibers which will run in the nervus intermedius. So this is the nervus intermedius emerging at the pontomedullary junction, and that will continue as the facial nerve, which is the seventh cranial nerve. Okay. This facial nerve will enter into a meatus, that is the internal auditory meatus. Okay. And then will continue into a ganglia, that is known as the geniculate ganglia, present in the middle ear cavity. From the geniculate ganglia arises a branch that is known as greater petrosal nerve, which will enter into the middle cranial fossa through the hiatus of the greater petrosal nerve. So this greater petrosal nerve will lie in the middle cranial fossa. Okay, through the hiatus for greater petrosal nerve. This greater petrosal nerve will then enter into the foramen lacerum. So this is the foramen lacerum, and in the foramen lacerum it would be joined by another nerve that is known as deep petrosal nerve. To form a nerve that is known as nerve to pterygoid canal. which will enter into the pterygoid canal, and this pterygoid canal will open into the posterior wall of the pterygopalatine fossa, and this nerve to pterygoid canal will carry the preganglionic parasympathetic fibers which will relay into this pterygopalatine ganglia. Now from this ganglia arises the postganglionic secretomotor fibers which will supply the various glands, that is the lacrimal gland, mucosal glands of the nose, paranasal sinuses, palate and the pharynx through various branches of the pterygopalatine ganglia. First we will study the branch to the lacrimal gland. For that you have to first study one of the branches of the maxillary nerve, that is the zygomatic nerve. The maxillary nerve will give a branch in the pterygopalatine fossa that is known as the zygomatic nerve. Okay, which will then divide into two branches. First is the zygomaticofacial and another one is zygomaticotemporal. Okay, this zygomaticotemporal will continue forwards, and there is a connection between this zygomaticotemporal nerve and the lacrimal nerve. Lacrimal nerve, which eventually will supply the lacrimal gland. Okay, so there is a communication between the lacrimal gland and the zygomaticotemporal nerve. Okay, so let us now trace the pathway of this postganglionic secretomotor fiber to the lacrimal gland. The postganglionic secretomotor fiber, which is arising from this postganglionic neuron, will enter into the maxillary nerve through the ganglionic branch, and through the maxillary nerve it will enter into the zygomatic nerve. Then it will enter into the zygomaticotemporal nerve, and through this communication between the lacrimal nerve and the zygomaticotemporal nerve, it will enter into the lacrimal nerve. And through this lacrimal nerve, it will supply the lacrimal gland. So this is the parasympathetic pathway of the lacrimal gland, for which the preganglionic fibers are arising from the lacrimal nucleus. Next is the sympathetic root. The sympathetic root is also derived from this nerve to pterygoid canal. The postganglionic sympathetic fibers present in the nerve to pterygoid canal is derived from the superior cervical ganglia. So this is the superior cervical ganglia. Okay, through which the postganglionic sympathetic fibers will arise and will form a plexus around the internal carotid artery. This is the internal carotid artery. So the plexus is the internal carotid plexus. This plexus will give rise to a nerve that is known as the deep petrosal nerve. So this was the deep petrosal nerve. This deep petrosal nerve then will join the greater petrosal nerve in the foramen lacerum to form the nerve to pterygoid canal. So the postganglionic sympathetic fibers will also relay through this nerve to pterygoid canal, and these postganglionic sympathetic fibers will enter into the pterygopalatine ganglia, and these postganglionic sympathetic fibers, without relaying in this parasympathetic ganglia, will be distributed to various glands of the orbit, nose, the palate and the pharynx through various branches of this pterygopalatine ganglia. That we will study later on. Now the third root, that is the sensory root. The sensory root is derived from the maxillary nerve. The sensory branches come into this pterygopalatine ganglia through its various branches, And these sensory branches will then enter into the maxillary nerve through the ganglionic branches of the maxillary nerve. So therefore the sensory root is coming from the maxillary nerve. Okay, so these were the three roots, that is the motor or the parasympathetic root, the sympathetic root and the sensory root of the pterygopalatine ganglia. Now the various branches of the pterygopalatine ganglia through which these fibers will be distributed to various parts of the head and neck. The first branch is the orbital branch that will enter into the orbit through the inferior orbital fissure. Okay, and these orbital branches will carry these three fibers to the orbital periosteum and the orbitalis muscle. So these were the orbital branches which was entering into the orbit through the inferior orbital fissure, which is present on the anterosuperior aspect of the pterygopalatine fossa. The second branch are the nasal branches, which will emerge from the pterygopalatine ganglia and will come out of the pterygopalatine fossa by a foramen that is known as the sphenopalatine foramen, present on the medial wall of the pterygopalatine fossa, and will enter into the nasal cavity. These nasal branches will again be divided into two sets of nasal branches. This is the lateral posterior superior nasal branches, and this one is the medial posterior superior nasal branches. This lateral posterior superior nasal branches will supply the lateral wall of the nose, specifically posterior superior aspect of the lateral wall of the nose, and the medial branches will supply the roof of the nasal cavity and the nasal septum. One of the medial posterior superior nasal branch is very large and will reach the anterior part of the nasal septum and will enter through the incisive foramen present on the anterior part of the hard palate and will supply the mucosal glands present in the anterior part of the hard palate. So this large medial posterior superior nasal branch is known as the nasopalatine nerve, which will supply the anterior part of the hard palate through the incisive foramen. So these were the nasal branches. The third set of branches are the palatine branches, which will emerge from the pterygopalatine ganglia and come out of the pterygopalatine fossa through a canal present in the inferior part of the pterygopalatine fossa, that was the palatine foramen, the greater and the lesser palatine foramens. These palatine branches will again divide into two sets of branches, the greater palatine nerves and the lesser palatine nerves. The greater palatine nerve will supply the posterior part of the hard palate and some part, that is the posterior part of the nasal septum. The lesser palatine nerve will supply the soft palate and the tonsil present in the oral cavity. So these were the palatine branches. Now the fourth set of branches, that is the pharyngeal branches. These pharyngeal branches will emerge from the pterygopalatine ganglia and will come out of the pterygopalatine fossa through the pharyngeal canal present in the posterior wall of the pterygopalatine fossa and will supply the glands present in the nasopharynx. So these were the pharyngeal branches. Which was supplying the pharynx. Sometimes a fifth branch is also considered, that is the lacrimal branch, that we have already studied, which will supply the parasympathetic fibers to the lacrimal gland. Therefore, the different routes of the pterygopalatine ganglia, that is the sensory route, the motor or the parasympathetic route, and the sympathetic route, will bring different types of fiber into the pterygopalatine ganglia, and through the various branches of the pterygopalatine ganglia will be distributed to various glands, that is the lacrimal gland, the orbital glands, the nasal glands, the palatine and the pharyngeal glands. Now the applied aspect of the pterygopalatine ganglia. Stimulation of the pterygopalatine ganglia will lead to a condition that is known as hay fever. In which there is running nose and eyes, which is similar to the allergic rhinitis, because stimulation of this parasympathetic ganglia will lead to stimulation of various glands that are supplied by its branches. So in these intractable cases of hay fever, alcohol is injected into this parasympathetic ganglia so that this parasympathetic ganglia is destroyed, and if this parasympathetic ganglia is destroyed, the parasympathetic fibers supplying these glands will also be stopped or destroyed. That will lead to stoppage of the running nose and eyes. So this completes the pterygopalatine ganglia. Thank you very much.